Vaani.
Hey guys, what's the first thing you see in the morning and the last thing you see before bed? For me, it's my phone. As much as I'd appreciate falling asleep and dreaming about Ian Somerhalder immediately, that's not always the case. I scroll through my entire Instagram feed, my entire Facebook news feed, and even look up cute dog outfits on Pinterest. Which is fine, if I had a dog. We don't notice it, but social media negatively affects the way our brains function. As technology and social media become more prevalent, our attention is shifting away from the things that matter. For example, instead of tracking our grades, we track the number of likes our latest post has on Instagram and compare it to the number of likes our best friend's post has. Like last week, my best friend got 100 likes on a picture of her phone. I mean, my Subaru artsy picture got like 10. Okay. Hashtag the struggle. Social media isn't always harmful, but in abundance, it creates unnecessary stress. To limit the stress, let's chat about the causes preventing us from focusing. Next, let's Facebook stalk the effects of networking on the brain before posting some solutions to minimize damages from time spent online. In his TED Talk, Clay Shirky says, "Our social tools are not an improvement to society. They're a challenge to it." Social media causes distractions that are detrimental to society. These distractions come in many forms, such as PVS, phantom vibration syndrome, which Discovery News defines as a condition in which one feels that their phone has vibrated. It has. Many of us don't know that the brain is always changing, but our new knowledge of neuroplasticity, which is the ability of the brain to adapt to its surroundings, shows that as we become more dependent on technology, our brains are rewiring themselves to rely heavily on electronics as well. Perhaps you've been in a situation where you're sitting at your desk doing your homework or sitting on your couch watching TV, and you think your phone vibrated. You check your phone, but there's nothing. No call, no email, no extravagant text from your mom. Darn. Nothing that would have made your phone vibrate, but you know you felt it. If this has happened to you, you're not the only one. In an experiment done by the University of Chicago, 68% of participants reported having phantom phone vibrations, with 87% of them experiencing them weekly and 13% daily. PVS is a distraction caused by the dependence of social media that's plaguing our society today. It's only one way that social media is diverting our attention, whether it's preventing us from finishing our homework or preventing productivity. With social media, we're tempted to multitask. A common misconception of multitasking is that we focus completely on each subject while alternating between activities. But multitasking is actually defined as continuous partial attention. Going back to my example, the fact that we have our phones next to us while studying is a problem within itself, because multitasking prevents us from focusing completely on each subject, making us more prone to error. In the case of continuous partial attention, we're motivated by a desire not to miss anything. I mean, the purpose of social media is to keep us in the loop, so that we know everything as it happens. I don't know if it's just me, but whenever I hear my phone vibrate, I feel the sudden urge to check it. I'm eating dinner or doing my homework, and it's like I stop, drop, and roll whenever I hear my notification. Multitasking makes tasks harder than they need to be and should be avoided to make the most of our time. So if you didn't know this before, we use social media a lot, but our use has become an addiction. Staying up to date on emails and other forms of social media is a bigger time requirement than people may realize. New research shows that the average American spends 23 hours weekly online, about 3.2 hours daily. Because our brains associate social media with rewards, they're more susceptible to adapting themselves to make us desire these stimulations. Degradation of white matter in the regions of the brain that control attention, emotion, and decision-making causes a change in how our nervous system functions. This loss makes it harder for us to think straight and make good decisions. Sounds like a drug, right? Well, social media has been found to affect us like drugs do, so it's not surprising that we're addicted to our phones. In fact, when we're not using social media, our brains experience a sort of withdrawal. In an experiment done by the University of Berkeley, 53% of participants reported feeling upset and cut off from the world when deprived of an internet connection. If social media is the equivalent to drugs, why do we still use it? Time spent online changes our psychology and affects our mental health. Using social media activates our dopamine pathway, which is a neurotransmitter involved in feel-good activities. More dopamine is released when performing rewarding activities, especially while talking about ourselves, which raises our confidence and consolidates our self-esteem. It's a known fact that people prefer talking about themselves rather than listening to others. Scientific American says that people spend 60% of their conversations talking about themselves. This number rises to 80% when communicating via social media platforms such as Twitter or Facebook. For example, there's always that one person that's always updating their status to going to the movies tonight or hanging with the squad. Hashtag swag. This is only one way that people are becoming self-obsessed by the power of social media. Our brains simply associate with immediate gratification, which is why teenagers just like us are becoming more self-involved when spending time online. To limit the dependence of social media, it's essential to regulate time online. I'm not saying you should completely abandon your cell phones and smell the roses, but really notice when your use is out of control. HuffPost stated the majority of Americans know that Twitter and Facebook are more addictive than smoking and caffeine. With so many temptations, it's important to only use social media during downtime. So don't waste time updating your profile or changing your pictures when there's work to be done. This will not only save you time and increase productivity, but will build self-discipline, which most of us are lacking today. As hard as it is to stay away from social media, it's important to know how much is enough. Our generation needs to understand that there's more to the world than social media. For example, my dad doesn't have a smartphone, never has, and as hard as it may be to believe, he isn't on any social media websites. Hashtag loner, right? Sorry, Dad. I might think that my dad's missing out on a lot, but is he really? My dad has the ability to be as efficient as he can, whereas I don't because I'm addicted to my phone. Decreasing social media use allows us to focus on the more important issues, such as our work ethic and mental health. Now that I've powered off my distractions, I'm able to better manage my time. And you can too. So log out of social media and log into a world we have yet to truly experience. Thank you.